All right, here we go. Number 59 of The Real with Mel Highsmith. What an absolutely crazy time in this world that we were all going through. You gotta love this old truck theme song, but yeah, with Mel Highsmith. Okay, so let's just get this all put into perspective and see what old Mr. Mel Highsmith has to say about what's going on. So here we go, episode 59, The Real with Mel Highsmith. What a wild and absolutely scary direction our country is going and it is headed into. I want to discuss with you, my friends, a development that is getting blown out of proportion by the liberal media. For some of you, you believe that Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC, and all those news channels have your best interests, but they don't. They're only just filling your mind full of propaganda and nonsense. So we have Lieutenant Colonel Alan West and his interview with Newsmax about his views and thoughts of secession from the Union. That would mean the red states leaving the United States as we see it and becoming their own country. Now, I'm going to play an audio clip in a bit from Lieutenant Colonel Alan West clarifying his statements about secession because he really didn't say those words. The liberal media spun it that way. So we all know the Supreme Court failed the American people and did not respect the rule of law of our Constitution of law-abiding states. Okay, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West went on to say that he's the Texas GOP chairman and has bended about a call for a new union, noting he is not referring to secession, although the liberal media has spun it out and put it out there that he's talking about dissolving the United States. If he was talking about that, the real truth of it is you dissolve the Union now, these liberal cities, the liberal-minded people of America, they're not going to be able to take care of themselves because those are the ones that are mostly on the welfare system. Think about it. You and me as conservatives and Republicans in the United States in this day and age of the 2020 pandemic elections, all we are is batteries and fodder for the lazy and the disenchanted here in America. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West went on to say, we need to have states that honor our Constitution. West told Fox News and Friends in his interview this past Sunday, I know a lot of people have thrown out this word secession. I never said anything about it. And as you hear in the audio clip, he will clarify at the end of this. I'm going to play an audio clip from Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, and he will clarify that for you, okay? So most of you don't know him. He has ran for president of the United States. He's well respected within the United States Army and retired as a lieutenant colonel. Okay, so West went on to say, I talk about law-abiding states. I talk about them forming a union. I talk about an alliance because they are the ones that are abiding by the rule of law. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West also noted those states that unlawfully enacted new election practices without properly legislating the changes are the ones that are actually seceding from the Union. So, but normally, as we know in life, in our little small part of the world, you always have those people that'll change your narrative of what you said to where it fits their story. So because Lieutenant Colonel Alan West is a well-respected retiree from the United States Army and within the civil and political croppings of America, the liberal left media will spin the words to make it sound once again that conservatives are literally crazy out of their minds. Alan West went on to say, if anyone is out there seceding from the United States of America, it's the states that have violated this rule of law. He added within his story. And people are saying, well, what's this law they did? You had states like Pennsylvania, okay? They changed the laws for their elections to benefit a Democratic candidate. They changed how it was done. West said violating election law and having courts or judges making law. Now remember, judges are there just to adjudicate the law as it is written. They are not to write laws from the bench, okay? They interpret their understanding and they rule upon that one. Shame on the Supreme Court of the United States for not stepping in. It is absolutely blasphemy to see what's taking place. But, courts and judges making law to favor a party's leadership in a state's election is unconstitutional under equal protection under the law. The liberal lunatics from the left, they have changed most laws as they see fit. Look at Hunter Biden. West also said, I think it's pretty common sense analysis that this is a huge fracture in the foundation of our constitutional republic. That is what the United States is, a constitutional republic. We are not a democracy. Do not allow the Democrats and their little busy worker bees flying around in the media today state otherwise. We are a constitutional republic. So I'm going to give you a little bit of this clip, okay? Let's go over to it, and it's going to be with Alan West. So here it is. It's an interview from Fox Family and Friends. Here you go.
The Supreme Court rejected the Texas lawsuit challenging election results in 4 states. Our next guest floating the idea for so-called law-abiding states to form their own union. Here with his idea lighting up social media, Texas GOP Chair, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. Colonel, thank you so much for being with us on the program. Listen, I know you know how to throw bombs like anybody else, but you're a thoughtful guy. This is a statement you put out in reaction. Give me your rationale and what you're talking about here as far as.
So here's his comments explaining it all.
Well, that's exactly what we're talking about. When you talk about what is happening here, we need to have states that honor our Constitution. And I know a lot of people are throwing out this secession word. I never said anything about secession. I talked about law-abiding states. I talked about them forming a union, an alliance, because they're the ones that are abiding by our rule of law. If anyone is out there seceding from the United States of America, it's the states that are violating our rule of law. And so when you look at the Texas lawsuit, which was enjoined by another 17 or 18 different states and also 106 other congressmen, what they are saying is that you cannot go out there and violate your laws. You cannot violate election law. You cannot have courts or judges that are making law. You cannot have secretaries of state or governors, executives that are making law. That's supposed to be done by the legislative branch. And in those states violating an election law, it does have a damaging effect on the states that are law-abiding and following election law. And that was the crux of this lawsuit. And so therefore...
So, there you have it right there. You have Lieutenant Colonel Alan West explaining what he said. Because once the liberal media got a hold of it, they spun and they said, he's talking about, okay, here we go. He's going to form a new confederacy and where it's going to go to war. Here's a new flash, and this is fact, okay? 100% fact. Research it yourself. Don't be sheeple, be people, and do your research, okay? Fact check yourself, okay? So it's just simple. If, just say the 17 or 18 states that joined Texas, if they seceded from the Union, okay, it's not the vast majority of the population, but it's the states with all the resources, okay? With Texas being the 9th largest economy in the world, it would spearhead it. A lot of people are screaming for it. They said, you know what, let's leave the Union, form our own country. Well, here's how it happens, and I'll tell you, okay? If we immediately left the Union, what's going to happen is what's left of the federal government is going to attack immediately, okay? That's exactly what they're going to do. Whether it's on a physical attack, it's a social attack, a monetary attack, but that's what they're going to do. They're going to spin it because they're losing the people who pay the bills for the lazy and the disenchanted individuals that calls themselves American citizens sitting back on their hindparts, not doing anything for their lives, okay? It takes away the money for them. So that's what would happen. So right now, it's very far-fetched for anybody to think that America is going to break apart. Now, would the Chinese like that? Well, you bet they would. You bet they would. We've been feeding them fat as pork for 50 years now for cheap products to become a dumping ground for all the garbage coming out of that country. Not saying that China's garbage. I'm saying the products they produce are pure garbage. And it's sad enough that companies actually leave and go to China for business. But it is what it is. That is the story from one man on an opinionated show, The Real with Mel Highsmith, coming from you, beautiful Marble Falls, Texas. And speaking of that, before I get any deeper in this, let's hear a little bit from one of the sponsors of the show. Here's a clip we've been playing for the last couple of episodes. I want to say thank you to Christina Highsmith, my beautiful wife, who also was in this commercial with me. So here you go. Check it out. A message from Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry, where you expect our great service. Lakeside Pawn, how may I help you?
Hi, I would like to get a loan on my husband's wedding ring.
Oh, absolutely. Let me see what I can do.
I've never done this before.
Ma'am,
I'm a little nervous.
don't be nervous, ma'am. Do you know the difference between a bank and a pawn shop? Is with a pawn loan, you actually get your down payment back. That's the benefit of the whole system. So don't worry, we have your back here at Lakeside Pawn. How you doing? Mel Highsmith here. The last 25 years, Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry has taken care of Marble Falls and the surrounding hill country. So whether you need that hard loan or you need that special something, a special someone in your life, come on down to 2001 North Highway 281, Marble Falls, Texas, 830-693-5626. And remember, Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry, come to where you expect our great service. And we're back. It's always so wild when I get to watch the commercials that we've done in the past here at Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry. But you can't go anywhere else in the Highland Lakes, and most particularly Marble Falls, Texas, and get the kind of customer service that we have been dealing out for years at Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry. Our little cliche, come on down where you expect great service. Well, that's the total truth. So if you get a chance to come down there, you can say hi to me, Mel Pawn Guy Highsmith. Pawn Guy I'm a pawn broker by day. So Mel Pawn Guy Highsmith, Lee Bolin, Jay Henson, Troy Fox, or our awesome manager, Allie Woolley. But it'd be great. So anyways, get on down and visit Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry, where you expect all that great service that you're not getting down the street. So anyways, which brings us to our next subject, and might as well dive right into it. These are some wild times. So as most already know, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled it would not hear Texas's case, a lawsuit filed by the Texas attorney Bill Paxton earlier this month. But attorney Alan Dershowitz went on to say in his interview on Newsmax that President Donald Trump should realize he can't count on the judiciary in the quest to overturn the elections. Because remember, the other guy, Joe Biden, was the most popular man in the history of politics. 81 million people voted for him. Can you believe that? I bet you the past administration, that president is just literally banging his head against the door right now saying, this is not right. I thought I was going to be, wrong. Joe Biden's more popular. So once again, Donald Trump cannot count on the judiciary in his quest to overturn the re-election. Alan Dershowitz, who I'm reading his article from Newsmax on this, he's a constitutional legal expert that a lot of people do go to. In an interview with radio host Joe, dear Lord, I got to say his last name, Katsividitis, on WABC 770 aired and it was posted by The Hill, the Supreme Court's rejection of the Texas lawsuit, taking issues with accounts sent a message to Trump's team and his loyalists. The message that it did send, it was simple. Donald Trump got more votes than any incumbent in the history of elections. He won every single state that he needed to be reelected. Joe Biden, he won the states that everybody would think, like all three of them. But most of all, 16 and a half counties out of all the United States. 16 and a half counties in all of the United States is going to make the decisions for me and you. It's just absolutely a nightmare when you cannot rely on honesty anymore in elections. This is what happens when you take the good Lord out of schools, because some of those children grow up to be politicians like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Nancy Pelosi and on down that list. I'm not saying that Republicans and conservatives are all good people, because humans are flawed. The good Lord gave us choice. And some people, regardless of what side of the line they're standing on, choose to be something other than a person or an individual, a man or a woman of the people. For Mr. Mel Highsmith here, I choose to be a man for the people, of the people. The three justices that Donald Trump appointed, his three justices that he appointed, voted not to hear the case. Well, it's probably because their families have been probably had the living hell scared out of them for car bombings. Okay, so Dershowitz had said, which is an amazing thing, the one that Trump put in office, they didn't want to hear the case. The Hill reported, I think it's a message to him and his team that you can't count on the judiciary, you can't count on the courts. Dershowitz said that Trump needs a perfect storm to overturn the election results, including the help of the courts, the governors, and state legislators. And turning to state legislatures is very, very unlikely. I will tell you a genius thing, and this is my opinion. You know, during the whole election process and all the campaigning, everybody saw what looked like a bumbling idiot out on the campaign trail, Joe Biden. Man couldn't read, he couldn't talk, didn't know what town he was in. Half the time, he didn't even know what country he was in. And everybody saw that, and they let their guard down. And so what they did is they took their little bitty minions and their operatives, and they sent them down to the local level, which I have been preaching here on The Real with Mel Highsmith since episode 1. That be careful, they were going to attack at the local grassroots level, and that's what they did. Because you can get one ballot counter sitting there at a table, sitting there, lack of better words, through fraud, screwing the American people because of that one person sitting at a table. I think if we're going to haul in these politicians, I wouldn't do that. I'd do their minions. I'm telling you, it's like a boil underneath my skin, even thinking about it. So let's all could pray that Trump gets a perfect storm. So Dershowitz said, he suspected on Monday we will see the electors elect Joe Biden. Whether you like that or you don't like that, that's the reality that the Trump team has to face. Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, however, has said that the fight will go on and that the campaign, would present the case. They would present the case in district court. We're not finished, Giuliani said. Believe me, we are not finished. I guess if somebody was to ask me, Mel, how do you view this from your little part of the world? You know, some people call me a redneck living in a small town, so why does my opinion matter? Because I was born in America, and there's a thing called the Constitution. And because of that, we all get the words in one of those amendments, freedom of speech. Okay? Today, the liberal left, they don't want to hear what anybody else has to say if you do not believe that Joe Biden is the Messiah with 81 million votes. If you do not believe that Kamala Harris is the first African-American woman, there's far better African-American women in this country to put in that position than a person like Kamala Harris. And that is the truth. If that upsets anybody, then so be it. But it is the truth. I know some of them. I live right here in beautiful Marble Falls, Texas. And there's African-American ladies here that could do the same thing. So, but when you want to get away from all the politics, what do you do? What do you do? One of the good things about here in Marble Falls, Texas, we have a local business. Okay, it's a local business called Hoods, Games, and Things. It's a really, really nice place. It's located at 1814 Highway 281 here in Marble Falls, Texas. And you can go inside there. You can find comics, cards, Magic the Gathering, tabletop, video games, Dungeons and Dragons. He has it all. Zach Hood, that's Hood's Games and Things in Marble Falls, Texas. So if you want to get away from all these politics, and you basically want to go veg out at your house, play some old time video games. You know, I'm a 51-year-old man, so I don't look at these newfangled games as anything. I'd rather go play Atari. So I'm actually looking over here. My wife is sitting in a chair, sitting there. She's like, when is this show going to be over? But anyways, so check out Hood's Games and Things. That's it. 1814 Highway 281, Marble Falls, Texas. 325-956-9286. And when I get done with those video games, when I get frustrated if you can't win them, then what's the first thing you want to do? You want to go out and shoot some targets with your handgun, your rifle, whatever you got. One of the best things to do, and I suggest, is you need to get some training for that. Okay? There's a group of people from R&M Solutions, firearm training classes, Roger Woods, Michelle Woods, and our very own Danny Stone. I've been through this class, and if you go through it, you will see what I'm talking about. They give you the education, the know-how, the law, and then they take you out and show you with practical experience out in the range. So you can't miss it. So don't buy your next firearm without going through the safety classes. When you got to talk as much as I do, my throat gets dry, so I got to give me a drink. So, but anyways, I want to take a little quick from our sponsor, Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry, and play a little jingle written by Nathan Quinn Dees, a gentleman who's partners with me in the Greater Marble Falls Live Music Society, one of the most premier social Facebook sites for musicians in the state of Texas. We are very proud with over our 1,000 members, and we see it growing every single day. You know, we're currently going through some tough times with musicians that can't even work because there's an organization that's headed up by a Gestapo agent called Texas Alcohol and Beverage Commission. This entity, which shouldn't exist in the first place, okay, should not exist in the first place. That's a Texas Alcohol and Business, TABC. And they are harassing bars across Central and North Texas and everywhere they can, trying to tell them already that because 5 people go in a night and sit at a bar and drink beer, that's going to spread the coronavirus. Here's the thing. I didn't think Chinese had any interest in bars. Christina, do you think the Chinese had interest in bars? I mean, I'm getting to a point because if they're going to shut down all the bars in our local area, right? If they're going to shut down all of our bars in our local area because it's going to spread coronavirus. No, what it is you can't have a good time. You can't pray. You cannot do a damn thing without the liberals saying you can. It just blows my mind. Okay? So anyways, let's check out this jingle from Nathan Quinn Dees from our sponsor, Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry.
You want some cash, you want it fast, let's go to Lakeside Pawn. If you need a loan for your office or home, just go to Lakeside Pawn. They got instruments and strings, and guns and lots of things. So remember if your loved ones have been gone, you can't get cash for that ring, and a new guitar to sing. Just go to Lakeside Pawn. Let's go to Lakeside Home.
All right, and we're back. Okay, you gotta love it. Nathan Quinn Dees. By the way, on River Nation, he's number one in blues in the state of Texas, I believe. I'll just tell a little story. I've done a couple of episodes, and I never get tired of it because he's one of those people that work tirelessly and effortlessly to promote himself completely. And a lot of people are like, man, that guy is always playing his music and his videos, and I always tell them, you have to work on your brand. Nobody is going to do anything for you. So get up off your hind pot and do something about it. Okay? But I love that jingle from Nathan Quinn Dees for Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry. A little bit more in the news. Here's a good thing for you. Society Radio has changed its name. That is the parent of The Real with Mel Highsmith to Society Network. And look forward to the turn of the year so we can start churning out some of the best locally produced shows in the area. That's Society Network. So you'll be able to look forward to The Real with Mel Highsmith. Also, you'll be able to check out the Homegrown After Dark series and a new show coming out with a great new host, Homespun, in the Hill Country. So, but let's take it from here. And I enjoyed episode 59 with you, and we'll see you for episode 60 coming up. But we're going to get out here with a little bit of a prayer. Here we go. Dear Lord, please guide your people through these dark times. The beast is among us. Protect us, fortify our gates. Dear Lord, give us the strength to keep the dogs away from our children. Without you, we will not have a leader. In your name, amen. You got to love Jesus Christ. This flag, many people died. And the last thing they said when they gave up their last breath was, Dear Lord, protect my family. And that brings me to this, hashtag save our children. Because with this election going the way it is, our children are in peril. Everybody always thinks, not my child. But I think if we all dig down deep inside, there's a beast in every family. Protect your children. Hashtag save our children. And with that said, we'll see you next time on The Real Mel Highsmith. Solo by Mel Highsmith. The Highsmith Family Band. Dear Lord, that never gets old. That's The Real with Mel Highsmith. Now the shows are over, I want to tell you something. You know, if you like what's going on here with The Real, we need sponsors for our show. We're fighting. This is self-financed. So there's a couple things I need you to do. One, go over to YouTube and subscribe to The Real with Mel Highsmith. I need that help, okay? The next thing is like our Facebook page, The Real with Mel Highsmith. Like us on Instagram, The Highsmith Experience. Go to www.societyradio, which was switching over even there, to network. And check out all of our stuff. Without my friends just like you sitting at home watching this and my wife sitting over there, this cannot be possible. So we all got to admit to ourselves we can be proud about something produced right here in Marble Falls, Texas. But until then, we'll see you for episode 60.